Gonna see how this works. I'm kind of double dipping here. I'm doing a YouTube live and Facebook live at the same time. Um, so on Sexy Mom Abundant Life, a couple of weeks ago, I was on a retreat and I was on the Big Island and told about this. I mentioned this tool, which is an awesome tool for when you have points of view, when you have beliefs, when you're trying to convince yourself of something that maybe isn't true. And it's based on a story. And I kind of made this tool up, or it was downloaded to me or whatever. And so the story is probably one you've heard some version of. It's really amazing for creating personal freedom. So if I don't tell the story quite the way you've heard it, just, anyway. So it goes like this. There was a farmer some time ago who had a horse, and the horse ran away, and his neighbors were like, "Oh my gosh, that's so awful, your horse ran away." And the farmer said, "Maybe so, maybe not." So the horse comes back the next day, and it has with it a female companion. And the neighbors were like, "Oh wow, you got this new horse, that's amazing." And he said, his response was, "Maybe so, maybe not." So then like his son is trying to break the horse, trying to train it, and falls off and breaks his leg. And again, the neighbors say, "Oh, how terrible, your son has broken his leg. That's just awful." And the farmer says, "Well, maybe so, maybe not." So then a war comes to the region, and the farmer's son doesn't have to go to war because he's got this broken leg. So, we tend to form our opinion like this is a negative situation, this is a positive situation, just based on what we're seeing immediately. And our perspective of that, like, "Oh, that's terrible. Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, that's terrible." And we're not seeing the full picture. We're seeing like a paint stroke on the painting and thinking, "Well, that's really ugly," or "That's gorgeous," instead of, "Oh, wow. What else is this creating?" And so one of the tools that I introduced it last year in the Radical Abundance Free Challenge, which I'll do again sometime in the spring. If you want to go to meetkathywilliams.com, you can find a way to sign up. There's an abundance tab. And so this became at least one of the people's favorite tools to use in her life. So any time something comes up and you think, "Oh my gosh, that's terrible," just say to yourself, to neutralize it, "Maybe so, maybe not, maybe so, maybe not, maybe so, maybe not, maybe so, maybe not, maybe so, maybe not." And it just gets you in the space of like, "Oh, well, it doesn't actually have to be terrible. I've just concluded it's terrible." And you could do the same thing for positive things if you choose to. So let's say someone calls you with canceling their lunch with you or their work appointment with you or whatever, and you're kind of in a contracted space about it. You're like, "Oh, I really wanted that to happen. This is bad." If you start to say to yourself, "Okay, is that really bad? Maybe so, maybe not, maybe so, maybe not, maybe so, maybe not, maybe so, maybe not, maybe so, maybe not." It gets you in this space of neutralizing that point of view. So I hope that is useful for you. I did mention it in the radio show on receiving. On Sexy Mom Abundant Life a couple weeks ago. And if you'd like to up your receiving, there's an exercise from that show. I've posted it to YouTube. It's called Receiving Your Greatest Capacity That You Refuse, or something like that. And then the show itself, the entire show on receiving judgment, receiving compliments, receiving life as it is on iTunes under Sexy Mom Abundant Life, or it's also on YouTube, SoundCloud, and at www.iom.fm. And if you would like to join us for 5 days on receiving, Oh, so much fun. We're gonna have 5 days of different energetic exercises because life is always gifting to us, and we experience it as a gift if we're willing to receive. And if we're not, we refuse and push against, and that limits our possibilities. It limits our joy, it limits our money, it limits our pleasure dynamically. So that is at meetkathywilliams.com/upcoming. So I hope you enjoyed this tool. I know a lot of people have used it to create so much freedom in their head. After all, when we're contracted emotionally, when we're contracted in our thinking, it limits our freedom dynamically. So this is a tool you can use to neutralize that and change it. All right, everybody. I love doing YouTube videos. Let me know what you like. And if you like this, comment or whatever, the internet gods will be happier. So if you could please do that for me, I would love it. And, let me know what kind of videos would be useful for you. Hello, Maria. Glad to hear from you. Talk with you soon. Actually, 5 days of energetic exercises is going to be translated into Portuguese by Maria. So if you know people in Portugal or in Brazil or wherever else they speak Portuguese, and also in German by Andrea. So that's going to be, for those of you in Austria or Germany or any of that, that will also be available. All right, and of course English, because that is what I speak best. All right, guys, have a good one.